back. The time is now.
But watching the show the other night, it wasn't great for the viewers. Everybody's shouting over each other. So if we can, even though we know emotions are really high and everything else, if we can, just allow the other person, whether it's an agreement or a disagreement amongst each other, just to have their say, and we'll get on with it. And like I say, everybody in the chat, we'll get round to you in a second. But before we get on to tonight's show, and obviously the events that have happened today, let's do the housework and then we'll crack on. Welcome to everybody watching across all the platforms. Thanks to everybody that works in the background. Always sorting the technical issues out. Chris, don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoy the show. It just helps us get further as a channel. Subscribe for us. It's totally free and it doesn't half help us out when it comes to us getting around to other supporters. Hit the bell for future content, daily shows. As soon as we get the news, one of us will appear live as we go. And 98% of what we do is live. So please hit the bell so you can get all of those announcements and anything that we come up, you'll get notifications. If you want to support us, you can help us by becoming a member. Small monthly fee. There's different levels to choose from. And if you do become a member and you want to come on board our prediction league to Fiverr to get on board, predict the scores from every game Newcastle play. And then if you're in the top 6, you win a prize. It's a bit of fun, but it certainly gives us a bit of banter as well. And I'm sure the predictions this year are going to be slightly varied from last year. If you've got a question for myself or either of the panel, then try and put a Q in front of that question. But it ain't guaranteed to be mentioned. So if you want to guarantee it, use the $, follow the instructions and send us a super chat. Anybody that joins us as a member or any of our lovely members that gift them out there will be highlighted and thanked as we go along the show. Again, welcome one and all. Bit of a strange day at the office, if I'm honest. We have expected something regarding news with Isak, and we mentioned before the start of the week, it will all determine on whether he gets on that plane. I wanted to ask you, right, and I'm going to start the show off with one simple question. Has Isak outgrown Newcastle United? Obviously, as you can see on the ticker tape at the bottom, you know, apparently now he's come out and he's not moving due to the money. There's other reasons behind it. And if you think when we signed Isak, wasn't the name that people expected to be the player he's become? And I think, in all honesty, that he seems to have, under guidance, and again, I always say it's not one person that develops a player. The player himself must want to improve. But it seems very much since Isak's moved to Newcastle, he has developed twofold compared to players around him to become one of, if not the best striker in the world, is some label to hold. And for me, I honestly believe that he has outgrown Newcastle because of what's happened, his trajectory compared to the team around him, the expansion, the promise, the vision seems to have slowed down compared to Isak's forward movement. Now, before I get on to the rest of it then, I just want to ask you, and I'll go one for one. Andy, do you believe Isak now has outgrown Newcastle, or is that just bull?
Well, I think if we'd been asked this question at the start of last season and we said, look, what do we need to do to keep a hold of Isak? We would have had to tick 2 boxes, definitely, which is A, win a trophy, and B, get Champions League football. Now, I think most of the fans would agree with us if you say, if you can achieve them objectives, then you've got a good chance of keeping a hold of them. The other thing would obviously be, you're going to have to improve his contract. And I think that's ultimately where we've fell a cropper. There's reports, obviously, it's well known that Mitchell had reviewed his contract based on the promise that was made to him by Amanda and Miedad. And apparently Mitchell turned on and said, "They'll be paid sufficiently, so you'll have to suck it up." So is he? I still think that ultimately he starts for any team in Europe. So you could arguably say yes, he's outgrown one. It's a bit of a sickener and a kick to the gut. The fact that his teammates have done exactly what he would have asked them to do, and that's grow. Maybe not at the speed that he's growing, but they've won a trophy, albeit it's the smaller one of the three in the country, and they're generating the cash that they need to catch up with the rest by getting Champions League football. And he's going to be playing on the big stage. But unfortunately, when someone puts a blank check in front of you, Gary, this is what happens.
Yeah, totally agree, mate. I mean, and somebody's put in the chat, and I think it was Boki. You know, it seems as if, you know, as much as Isak's been on this massive trajectory forward, it seems, as I mentioned, our vision, the plan that we were supposedly on this trajectory, this 5-year plan, seems to have slowed down, if not taken a massive step backwards. Win. Your thoughts, dude, on my question that I've just stated?
Well, you saw my thoughts in
I did.
The one I put out today. Have Newcastle had bigger ambitions than they were entitled to have? We had the opportunity when Liverpool came in with a Billy Big Bollocks tactic, when they came in effectively and said, if you don't sell us Isak, we're going after Ekatike, who they knew we were already after because we'd already put our first bid in. We could have said to them then, instead of trying to be Billy Big Bollocks ourselves, we could have said, right, here's the deal. You can have Isak, but you've got to allow us to strengthen first. We've got to replace him first before we announce that he's going to you. And instead of doing that, we've done what a large proportion of the fan base was saying at that very time: stuff you, Liverpool. We are as big as you now, etc., 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 which we're not and never have been. And, you know, since the war. And instead of doing that, we did what all the fans wanted us to do, and we gave the narrative: Isak staying, Isak staying, Isak staying. You got no chance of buying him. And we shot ourselves in the foot then. That's what I believe. Instead of accepting where we are in the pecking order right now, with all the PSR restrictions that we've got, we try to give it chest and say, you know, no, you're not just going to come in here and take Isak. And
Yeah.
it's ended up biting us on the backside. Oh, it looks as though it has.
Yeah.
What I would say as well is, I think at that same time, at that point, I think we should have said to Isak, sign this contract, you know. And if he signs a contract, great. But obviously, if he says, well, you know what, I don't really want to sign that, then, like you say, I agree, Win. Okay, he's not going to sign the contract.
Right. So we knew that.
Yeah. So, like, I think we should have done that. And I think to answer the question, has he outgrown us? I think, yes, he has. At the same time, we haven't helped ourselves, like you say, about our vision. So if we went in the summer and we appointed a CEO, we appointed a DOF once Mitchell had left, you know, we got that sorted, you know, a month later. And we got more signings through the door earlier. And we had the momentum. Like, all these delays, it also ties in with the stadium, the training grounds. You know, there's just like tumbleweed with all these things.
Yeah.
And I think that hasn't helped Isak in thinking, you know what, I'm going to give you another year and I'll see where it goes. If we had the momentum, if we had these appointments in early doors and we had ourselves together, then that might have swayed him a little bit. But at the same time, you know, when Liverpool come in, I understand it's trophies, it's the bigger wage we can't afford. I think that as a kind of a broader point, I don't know if PIF need to appoint somebody from the consortium directly to the club from there to be on the board to give the green light at the time, instead of us having to go to Yasser, the chairman, which seems to delay things. You know, I don't know it all inside out, but there just seems to be like massive delays, and it seems like PIF need to have somebody on the ground to be actually running the ship and to have a quick, you know, a quick decision-making process that we simply don't have at the moment. So I think that hasn't helped things at all. But, you know, as a wider point as well, you know, there is an opportunity to use this money going forward, which obviously we can get into if we're selling.
Yeah, Paul Clark. It's been a long time, my friend. Can you hear us, Paul? I think Paul's having issues.
Right. Well, I've put him on mute because of the feedback. But let's.
Is it any better or not?
Yeah, I can hear you now, Paul. Can you hear me?
Yeah, is the feedback gone?
Yeah, it seems better.
No.
Seems
Right.
better, but
Is it too early to swear?
well, we aren't quite at the watershed, but hey, it's YouTube.
Definitely.
So I want to start from one point. Paul Mitchell, fuck you. Fuck you. All right, you prick. Isak wants a contract. Best player at the club. No, we don't want to get into that conversation. Why the hell not? What's the point of you? What is the point of your job if you can't see that our most valuable asset, all he asks for is, hey, can I have a conversation about the contract? No, I've still got 3 years left. This is what happens when you do that, dickhead. Glad you're gone. Did nothing. The club, what are you doing? Eddie Howe, any minute, I swear, I'm going to see on Sky Sports, Eddie Howe has walked out of Newcastle United. Because this guy, I must be so fed up. I mean, okay, we got Alanga. Great, that took about 10 years, to get through. And, and then this quote about Isak, is it 100% correct? The wording seems a bit, because Craig Cope's kind of gone all out and said that he's definitely said he wanted to leave. Not quite the truth. Sky Sports and everyone is saying he's definitely said he wants to leave. That's not actually true.
Explore other options.
Yeah, and it's very out of context-y, really annoying. And again, journalists, Liverpool fans, all that. Again, you've caused this. You've caused this whole thing. Isak was. I'm sorry, he was happy after the Carabao Cup. We know for a fact he was happy. Anyone knows Matty from the Magpie channel? He went to the after party and Isak was there in person. He told him to his face. I know Matty very well, and he wouldn't lie. Isak told Matty to his face, "I'm going nowhere, mate. I love the club. I love this club. Love the fans. Nothing. I'm happy." And I believe that. I don't believe that's just bollocks that someone said. So Isak was happy. He's won a cup in Champions League. There's nothing to cause him to want to move. All this nonsense starts. The speculation, especially from journalists, Romano and all that, they're responsible for this as well. They start the little feelers out and they start going on. And Isak, because he's a human being, his head gets turned. Because you're a human being. And then they put out this nonsense tactic where, you won't give us Isak, we'll go for Ekitike. Okay. And I know they wanted this. They've offered him nearly triple the wages of what he's on here. Again, because Ekitike scored about, 20 goals for Frankfurt, whatever it was. I can't remember exactly the amount of goals. Hasn't proven in the Premier League, but they're paying 250 or what is it? 250? Yeah,
250 at Liverpool. That's what his contract is.
Liverpool know what they're doing. They know. A player like Alexander Isak is going to go, hang on a minute. I'm 120. I'm the guy in the Premiership, maybe apart from Haaland, but he's the guy. And I'm on 120, and I'm not a greedy guy, but I'm worth something. And because again, we've been here a million times, PSR is fucking us again. It's the same thing. We can't overspend on wages because we'll break the rules. But who can break the rules? Liverpool, if they do sign Isak, they would have spent nearly over 500 million.
Crazy.
In one window.
Well, they didn't spend anything last season, did they?
Well, we haven't spent anything in 4.
Well, no, that's what I said. And don't forget, it's these boys, especially Klopp, who were shouting about us, having far too much money and we'll be able to buy the league and everything else. And clubs like us, them was his words, will not be able to keep up.
Yeah. So honestly, this window is reminding me of finishing fifth with Pardew. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
signed,
yeah.
Yes, screens are, yeah.
we signed one player. I mean,
After a 6-0 defeat
I'm
at
gonna say.
Orient.
Was there Robson as well with the Boyer signing when we finished 5th as well?
I mean, hey, at least it's an attacker, but flip it.
Well, to be fair, Robson was backed under the whole regime.
Before then, he was. He was.
I don't know about you guys, but it just screams to me the Ekitike deal. Obviously, the details of what Ekitike was offered from Liverpool has ultimately been the breaker here. People are in Isak's ear saying, by the way, he's not proven in the Premier League and he's getting double the wages you're on. What do you think you should be paid? We all know, if someone's in your ear, it's going to be much easier. I just wish, and I think the fans would be a lot happier, had it been the case that when all that started with Ekitike and Liverpool were coming in for him, if Isak had just said, look, you've got an opportunity to get a young replacement in. I do want to leave, or I at least want to explore the possibility to leave. Had he said that at the point, we might have pushed a little bit harder to get Ekitike, let Isak go to Liverpool. Not only that, the time we've lost. Look at the strikers that have moved on since then. Osuamin's left. Gyökeres has went to Arsenal. What options to replace him now if he does leave is less than what we had at that point. I just think if he could have been a little bit more stand-up as a man and just said, look, this is what I want. I want to explore the opportunities potentially, see what else is out there. Buy Ekitike because the likelihood is I'm going to leave.
Yeah, Random Access, thank you so much, buddy, for your £10 gift. When a player's head gets turned, it can never go back to where it was before, even if he wants it to. Psychologically, something gets lost forever and you can never get it back. Said this about Anthony Gordon last season. Didn't seem the same player for me. Even though he didn't have a terrible season, he certainly wasn't the player. And I agree to what Random's just said there. Even if we keep Isak for another season, the risk of having a really poor player within the squad, not getting the obviously the results coming off the back of that, especially if you're reliant on him being your main striker, I think that's too much risk for me.
I agree. We need to be swift on this for me and just act upon this deal and get him sold. He's been brilliant for us. He's an amazing player, but we can't have a half-committed player. You can't go back on this. It's out the bag now.
It's out the bag, absolutely. Yeah. Now, let me just go on to a little piece. And again, I don't want this to sound as though I am digging the hole. And I certainly don't want to say that it's an ITK or I'm an ITK or this show is anything to do with that. But there's a little bit that's come out for when we went in for Ekitike, right? And the reasons why, and apparently because we all got so excited 9 days ago, it was a case of, not only have we got the world's best striker, but we're also going to have Ekitike playing alongside him. Wow, that's fantastic. And within 9 days, it actually feels like the rug has been totally pulled from under my feet. I've woken up from this fantastic dream of us really going for it this season. And, it's like we are the nearly men. But the rumour was that we knew about, or there was been some conversations had about Isak exploring elsewhere. And that was the reasons why we went for Ekitike. And it was a case of we were trying to play hardball with the first bid because we knew that Frankfurt were going to listen. And as soon as Isak then gets pulled into the question, and as Paul said before, with Liverpool, obviously things change. Liverpool then tried to play hardball and have played hardball by taking away our main target because they've got the money behind them. And they've paid slightly over the odds than what we obviously were willing to pay. But they have got not only the player we were looking for, but also potentially have got the player that wants to leave, right? Now, I'm going to ask you, and unfortunately, with my panel's age group, there's probably only going to be potentially Paul Me and the mighty Win remember this. But I remember the days when Clive Allen got signed by Arsenal from QPR, and he never played a game for Arsenal. He was in the swap deal straight away. I can't remember who it was for now. I think it was Kenny Sampson from Crystal Palace. Never actually played in the league for Arsenal. Do you think the reasons why Liverpool have gone and got Ekitike, knowing full well he was our player, that they'd expected a swap deal for Ekitike with maybe 20, 30 million? Food for thought. You've gone quiet.
Thank you, Rachel.
Say that again, Gary. How do you mean, sorry?
So back in 1980, Clive Allen was bought from QPR to Arsenal. He played a couple of friendly games, and then he was in a joint swap deal because Arsenal wanted Kenny Sampson from Crystal Palace. They couldn't afford him outright, but they made a deal with Crystal Palace for a swap for Clive Allen for Kenny Sampson, I think it was.
By the way, Clive Allen then had scored 42 goals.
Yeah, he was some striker. And obviously he had a great career then going on to Spurs. But, you know, for me, for them going for Ekitike, there's got to be a reason. And for them still be looking at, you know, and the rumours are out there. I'm going to go to the Echo in a second because, again, we're looking at their boardroom, their CEO, compared to what we've got at the minute, which seems miles apart. Considering we want to be, the promise was we want to be as big, the biggest club in the world. That was the promise. That was the vision. And like I say, you know, we talk about communication and everything else, and this lad has come out there and made communication. Now, we know that they've got to sell, Liverpool have got to sell, but they've got £180 million worth of sellable assets.
Yeah.
So money should not be, even if they get rid of them cheaply, they've still got the cash to throw a cheeky bid in. And if they want, like I say, they could also throw players into the mine to say, you know, they know how desperate we are now for player swaps and things like that. I'm just throwing the Ekitike out there because, like I say, that's already happened. It's not something new. Is that something that you see Liverpool trying to do? Because at the end of the day, they have the power now. We haven't got the time. I mean, you've mentioned time. There's 3 weeks of the window, really, before something needs to happen. We have to start looking at it now. Eddie Howe says he wanted players in quick. We've got one player through the door, and potentially we could have lost 5 if Isak decides to move on. Where are we?
I think with Ekitike, I think that part of that and part of the reason why when we're going for these strikers like João Pedro as well, I'm not saying this is the only reason, by the way. I think it's just an element of this where I think Premier League clubs like Chelsea and Liverpool, they're looking at us, and I think they can see the progress we've made over the last 3 years without the sort of commercial, you know, funds that those clubs have. And I think there's an element that they know if we get these players. I mean,
I've just put it out.
Is that the one you're all laughing at?
I was being polite, Gary, but I think it's like they know that if we get Ekitike, you know, we're rival potentially. We're going up and up and up in terms of like the progress we've made on the pitch. And if we can get consecutive Champions League finishes, then these clubs know that we can potentially not catch up overnight, but get on our way to catching up. So I think there's an element of, you know, making sure that we don't strengthen with these targets. They've obviously been interested in these players anyway as well. I'm not saying they're going just for that reason, but there's, like I say, an element of that. I think with the situation with Isak in Liverpool, I wouldn't be averse to having Gakpo in the deal and then having the rest of the money that we get spent on a SESKO, for example. So you've got Gakpo. He's no Isak, obviously he isn't, but he is a quality player for me. He's Prem proven. You know what you're going to get. He can play left as well. He can play withdrawn behind the main striker. If you've got the money left over, assign, say, a SESKO, who's very much of the the same milk as Isak when we first signed Isak. He's a raw talent, 22 years old, hasn't played in England before, but clubs are looking at him, a bit unsure. But if we take that risk on him, maybe he will develop in the same way Isak has developed. And we've already got then a Gakpo, or might be WISSA, and then money left over to strengthen other areas that we need to strengthen and get those players to the door. So we can make this work for us going forward. It's not the end of the world. It's a very difficult situation, but we need to make this work for us. We can't be just moping around. We can't be just digging our heels in. We need to act.
Lots and lots of things there to chew over.
It strikes me odd, though. I mean, I know Mitchell left the first day of the transfer window, but I mean, normally when a manager or someone of importance overlooks a system, normally there's a handover done, isn't there? Let's be honest. I want to know what the contingency plans were, because surely it popped into their heads. What if we get a bid that we can't turn down for Isak? Now, maybe Ekitike was that, we'll buy him, and then if anything happens. So I do see where Gary's going with that. Liverpool's kind of called our bluff a little bit. I think they might have thought Newcastle might cave in here and say, look, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll take Ekitike. You let us have Ekitike and we'll let you have Isak. But for me, it's just, I boycott and don't listen to ABBA anymore either.
No, exactly.
But I agree with Tim. You've got to flip it in these situations where we're in a stage of. For me, it's a bit like my analogy would be when we're going for Ekitike and potentially going to have Isak. We're on the snakes and ladders board, ready to go towards that ladder to get up to the next level. Unfortunately, all of a sudden we've hit the snake's head and we've ended up potentially, if we can't attract anyone this summer, not get a SESKO.
What a lovely analogy.
Well, it made sense in my head. I hope it makes sense to you.
It makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. But by the way, lads, we've got 600 people on YouTube right now.
Thank you, guys.
We've only got 39 likes. So come on, drop out the chat for a couple of seconds, hit the like, and help us grow.
Like snakes and ladders, hit the like.
You hate it, just like it gets the same traction. Like. Fine.
The one thing Liverpool have got, a bit like Chelsea,
it's a shit fan base.
Is I would never say that. I like
No.
Liverpool, but they've got a plethora of players who they're not going to need now.
Yeah.
We are in a position now to be able to try and turn the situation around. For example, if I'm going for one single Liverpool player as part of an Isak deal, I'm going for Bombshell straight away.
Really?
Absolutely.
That's the one player.
And potentially Harvey Elliott as well. So I would say, how about Bombshell and Elliott?
Can you play up front?
Plus 100 mil.
So Win, I'm just going to stop for a second because Terbrug Zonderlop, right, is telling us, again, I think he's like Isak, he's holding us to ransom because he's not going to hit the like button unless I read out his comment. So here it is. Piff out.
Well,
multiple times. So I've done it. Go and hit the like.
Right. Well, smashing.
What does that achieve?
I'm watching the comments going through. Gary, there's some great comments going through. Why don't you do the stars now and let's see where we go?
There's some brilliant ones. That's why I said it. We knew this.
There's a lot of them that you can discuss in themselves.
So here we go. Yeah, now have to play hardball with Isak or open ourselves up to every other player doing the same. Isak is the contract. Honour it or train with the kids for 3 years.
That's really going to help us, that isn't it?
Sorry,
you lose out all the time, don't we?
To Scott, it's a joke. I'm joking. When I say Liverpool fans are shit, it's a joke. I'm having a laugh. I love Liverpool fans. I've been away to the Anfield many times. They got fucking amazing fans. I'm having a laugh, mate. I'm not. Don't take me so seriously if you're going to get rattled in the comments. Most Liverpool fans are fucking awesome. They get annoyed at PSR with us, all right? It's a joke. Victor.
Random Access has gifted a membership, and that's gone to Claire G. Welcome on board, Claire.
Claire.
Steve, by the way, has put in then so-called Betwers was simply intelligent enough to see what's been going on and getting mocked for it. They deserve an apology.
What was the word we were getting called when? Yeah, on Tuesday.
Bedwetter.
No,
No one's bigger than the club, says
Correct.
Kenny W. And I
Absolutely.
totally agree with that. Iniesta, the timing makes no sense. Season starts in 3 weeks. And that's what I was saying. For me, the biggest thing...
The taming. That's
if they knew about this with the Ekatike, going for the likes of Ekatike and alike, then I'm sorry, but this should have been put to bed at the end of last season. You know, there should have been some conversation saying to Isak, listen, we know fine well, you know, and it's got to be hard for the likes of Isak, to be fair. If he'd been promised by Amanda to have an improved contract, right? Now, there's a point of me that actually agrees. Nobody put a gun to Isak's head when he signed his original contract for 6 years. He was a player that was a risk coming at the money that we paid for him, and he was happy to sign that contract there and then. Nobody at the club, even the player himself, I don't care who you are, could have seen the development over the seasons with Newcastle. With what we had to offer at the time, with the players that were coming on board, it was a case of trying to put a jigsaw together. Nobody saw the improvement overnight that we as fans saw. So, you know, for me...
And by the way, Gary, with our tactical play, which played towards
him getting his goals.
Isak's strengths.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. We've played Isak at his own strengths.
We have developed tactics to utilise his strengths to the full.
Absolutely. So, you know, for me, I mean, I feel sorry for Murphy. You know, he's had 2 cracking seasons, and now all of a sudden it means nothing.
Because he found a way of, you know, not crossing balls in the air or anything like that, but finding routes through to his feet, because that's where Isak's strengths are.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, for me, it's a case of, I think we needed to act, not now. It's like bolting the gate after the horse has already gone, isn't it? You know, we've taken far too long in this situation. And for me, you know, even though I have blamed Mitchell, same as Paul's just done down there, I've blamed Mitchell for exactly the same reason. He said that he thought that Isak was on a good contract. He didn't need to be improved. That was the words that he apparently said.
There's a way you could look at that one, Gary. You see it all the time, you know, when there's a young academy player comes screaming into a side, like a Lewis Skelly, for example. You know, he's probably, when he came into the team on, 15, 20 grand a week, let's say. He's then getting into England squads. They're the types of players that could really go, look, I'm not in financial hardship here, but, you know, I'm arguably one of the best left-backs in the Premier League. Everyone's screaming on how I'm going to be the next big thing, and I need paid what I'm worth. And I think Isak's got the same argument, but at the same time, 120 grand a week's not to be sniffed at. And going back to what you were just saying there, planning, it's all a piece for me. Prior preparation prevents piss poor performance.
Piss poor performance, exactly. And that is exactly it. And that's what I said, you know, and everybody's saying, you know, it's Eddie Howe's fault with what's happened and Steve Nixon and everything else. At the end of the day, no business runs successfully unless you've got good owners at the top. Now, you know, people like they just said, like, piff out. I don't think it's anything to do with them. They've employed a management structure to deal with club matters. And to me, and I'll keep saying it, the one problem I have is Darren Eales, God bless him. You know, he's got an illness that's very, very nasty. I know that. But he's still in a position to work. Now, he should have foreseen the problems going down the line and got this sorted before it's got to where it is now, where we haven't got a DOF in place. We've still got to appoint another CEO. And like you say, by the looks of it now, not only have we got to go and recruit another couple of strikers to support us going into a very, very difficult season, potentially we could also be having to look at another manager, as Paul said, you know, with all the bad taste that's going around at the minute, who's not to say that, there's talk about PIF not being interested because they're on about putting a bid in for Atletico Madrid. Can you see the conflict there if that happens? And we've got two Champions League teams going into the same competition. We're going to have another Crystal Palace down the line, aren't we? If they do go out and buy that. So there's certainly a dark cloud over Newcastle at the minute.
Can I just for a second? Chris is worried sick that we didn't put Random's super chat up when it came in.
We did.
But we did. So that
thanks again, Random.
When the player's head get turned, it can never go back to where it was before.
Yeah.
We're missing all the Mackhams as well. All the people that are saying that we're a small club, and what was it that one guy said? We're all overweight Geordies. Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
But,
I don't usually give them the time it takes to write it down, mate.
We're a far bigger club than the Mackhams are.
George and Nada.
We're not as big as Liverpool.
Honestly, if we get 130 million for Isak, we've just robbed whatever team bought him. He's brilliant on his day, but injury prone and lethargic. If he wants to sell him and rebuild now, well, I disagree with the injury prone. I think he played 80 odd games in 2 seasons.
Yeah.
He does miss a few games, but he's not made of glass as we assume. But sometimes he does go a little bit, of a missing on at certain points of a game. So I understand your picture. And there was again, I'd written some notes. Is the way he performed towards the end of the season, post the cup final, because he did drop off performance level wise, and we were putting it down to a groin strain, because that was all the journals at the time were saying. Is it the fact that he'd been tapped up by then? By the likes of Liverpool, because we all know, and I'm sorry, mate, but you can't even tell me. I was in a lower Saturday league management, and even my players were getting phone calls from other managers, even back down there. So we know it happens. It still happens today. If he's been tapped up while he was still playing for Newcastle, he's had all this time to think about it. That's what pees me off. It's about the timing of the event when it's come out, because he's known for me for a long time, and this thigh injury, and I'm not saying he hasn't picked up a slight strain, right, for him not to travel because of the journey and 3 games in 12 days and all that malarkey. After the thigh strain, he had a sonocyte. The sonocyte looks at the muscle tissue. There was nothing wrong with his muscle tissue, as the report suggested. So, if he's got a thigh strain, it can't be that bad if there was nothing showing on the scan. So, where's that?
I would go back to what Paul said as well about Isak saying to Matty, I'm very happy, da-di-da-di-da.
But that was last season, wasn't it? Well, it was after the cup final.
The cup final.
Yeah, everybody was up in the air then.
It doesn't matter what he says then, man. To anybody. He said the same to Shearer. It's irrelevant what a player says. He's going to say what he wants people, what people want to hear, basically. There's no way Isak could have been happy after scoring what turned out to be the winning goal in the cup final.
Yeah. Steve has put down, the problem is, again, coming to the Mitchell thing, didn't approve a new contract. I think that seems to be...
Well, again, that's kind of... When you hear,
Terry Thomas, Isak is doing a Salah contract ties out of the pram, foot stamp. There you go.
I don't think Eddie's to say
but the point is, he's entitled to. For us to allow him to get to the end of last season on 120 grand a week, when we've already agreed terms with Bruno for 170, with K7 for 150, with Gordon for 150.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
he's entitled to be disgruntled.
That's what I said. Everybody else around him has had contracts, haven't they?
I can't understand the sudden hatred towards Isak.
No,
I believe he was happy at Newcastle.
I mean, for me, I can't believe that we gave Gordon a bump of wage, an increase, an extension, and not Isak. Like,
Yeah.
and I can understand Isak. And then you see the
Except,
season Gordon had
yeah,
in and
except,
out.
do we know, because of course, Isak said he was offered a
Fair
better
enough.
contract by
Yeah,
Amanda,
yeah.
which
Maybe
wasn't
we don't know
honoured
exactly.
by Mitchell.
Aye.
And
So, but
Mitchell
then
said,
after
no,
that
no,
point,
yeah, contract
yeah.
then, dotty,
So
dotty,
after
dot.
that point, have we then went back to him and said, well, actually, no, we're kind of more willing now to give you the money that you want.
Well, it would
And
appear
I
not.
agree, Gary. Well, at the end of the season, why I just can't get my head around why you wouldn't just go straight to him and say, right, yeah, we want to keep you obviously longer term. We agree that you're worth more wage wise. These guys have got increased wages. We're going to give you that now. But obviously, it should have happened before. Because, like you said, in football, there's going to be whispers all the time. There's going to
Yeah.
be agents making mischief noises. It'll go on. So there's
And
no doubt he would have heard.
throughout everything, we are hindered by the cartel media buyers.
But this is why
Absolutely.
the media's been pushing the
The
Isak narrative.
cartel
Yeah.
control the media. If you don't say what we want you to say, you ain't going to get the access that will give you da. So they've got the whip hand there as well.
Guys, how
So
long?
we'll have to. My point is, we'll have to accept that right at this moment in time, especially with the PSR constraints, we are where we are in the pecking order. And it's no good having all this Billy Big Bollocks attitude saying we're bigger than you, da. Go on and outside. It ain't going to work.
Yeah, Martin, he's put in there that it's Newcastle again. I think that's Fabrizio Romano saying that Newcastle are on it. They're going to put a bid in for SESKO. But again, this is for me.
To me, there should be somebody there right now.
Right now, we're on tour.
That up.
How do we expect them to deal with crap that's going on now back home when they're over in bloody Singapore?
The funny thing is,
Darren Eales needs to jet out and do his job.
Yeah.
Yeah, the funny thing is, 9 days ago, Romano was saying that Newcastle have got this big ambition that we want Isak and Ekatike up for. That was the big thing from him. He was saying that. And
I believe we did.
And he also said that Ekatike only wanted Newcastle, and he changed that to only wanted Liverpool. We'll go to that. But so we had ambition for one day. Where's that gone? Okay, so we had ambition there. Where's that gone? Okay, so we had ambition one day to have two up front, fine. Then what happened? It's weird how we had that ambition to do that. We had the funds to do it, allegedly. So where's that ambition gone? Is it that Isak was annoyed that we were going in for him? Like, it's weird, isn't it? It just seems weird that from one day it was like, we want both of them. That's our plan going forward. We want both players, which, I'm sure was somewhat true. Yeah. And then Liverpool come out and make their move. I don't know. Is that the thing? You think that's the thing that's maybe Isak turn? I don't know. It's weird.
Thanks, Chris, for the $1.99 super chat. Win, drink some water, please.
Guys, look, before any of these serious links to Liverpool even started, how many times do you click on YouTube and see some Arsenal TV YouTube doing a thing about Arsenal signing Isak or Liverpool doing it? It's the narrative's been pushed for so long. It was always going to come to a crunch at some point. We either had to give him the money or this was going to happen. And I think it went past that point of. I think you get to the point like Wynn was saying. These other players have been given these contracts, but there was nothing in the news to say that that there was any disgruntled attitude by any of them players. I think the argument's been is Eddie's noticed a change in attitude in Isak, hence why he wasn't at the Celtic game, because he didn't know how he was going to, let's say represent the club at that point.
Do you think that comment was aimed at Isak when Eddie said about he only wants players at the club that want to play for Newcastle?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, fair enough.
I really do. Let's be honest, he's a very politically correct and well-spoken guy in his interviews. The only time you've really seen him come out with any hammers was when Mitchell said that the transfer about it wasn't fit for purpose. And he did it in an articulate but assertive way. Obviously, he then turned around and says, "Look, I appreciate how short careers are," which he will do. And as a manager, that's him trying to say, "Look, I've got the best interest of the players in mind, but I've also got another 23 players that want to win something, and they know they've got a better chance of winning something with him in the team." I just think that there's too many outside factors that's pushed this narrative towards Isak not outgrown Newcastle. Going back to your first question, Gary, we at the start, at the end of the last season, I'd already resigned my fact that we were probably going to have a drama like this, but I didn't think it's the manner in which it's been brought.
Yeah.
The circus that's followed it, that's really annoying, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And that's why I said, for me, you could see what was happening with Isak and Newcastle. They were growing together. It was starting to resemble a team, potentially 3 seasons Champions League. It was something that I could only dream about at the time. But actually seeing a player like Isak flourish, for me, as a fan, watching this player develop, I'd wanted to go in there with a pen and paper there and then and do a contract deal where, maybe you do a 200,000 a week contract and a gentleman's agreement. If somebody comes in with 140, 150 million, then we'll agree for you to go as early as we possibly can. I think, you've got to put sweeteners out there for these players. Yes, and again, the red flags were exactly coming out of Eddie Howe's mouth the other day. There was a lot of red flags in that conversation that he had with the journalists about the reasons why Isak had been sent home. And that's what I said. This to me has been going on for some time. It reads far too easy. And I'm just going to carry on with a couple more of the start. Because again, there's some really cracking ones, and thank you all out there. And before I carry on, I'd noticed there was a couple of lads out there from other clubs, and I'm not going to mention anybody. All I'm going to say to you, right, is keep it friendly. We don't mind, you're on this channel, we don't mind anybody coming on, but if there's any schoolboy stuff, you're getting blocked. One's been blocked, you guys carry on, and you'll be gone as well. So keep it nice, keep it friendly, have a chat, don't mind the banter. No. But just keep it good.
Apparently you have to end the stream, Gary.
Isak has done nothing yet. A minor trophy and lots of missed games. That's Jano's point of view. Again, I don't believe in the lots of missed games. I think he's missed very...
Mate, he's been second. He's had Callum Wilson to help him. The bloke's been injured for most of his career here. And he's had to play like 90% of the time. What's he meant to do? Of course he's going to get bloody injured.
He's played more games than Holland the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like I say, when you look at the amount of games he's had, though, I mean, it is
incredible.
It is incredible because he's done us over 80 games. I'm sure it is over 2 seasons.
No wonder he was absolutely knackered at the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get on his feet.
Predator and UFC pissed off bloody Liverpool and settle our player. Tried blackmailing us to sell Isak, and we'll buy Ekatike to stop you doing it now. Isak's head's fucked, so want to leave the league is an absolute joke. Like I said, we said as soon as we heard that, this is going to be one of those situations where he has got to look at where he is now. He's not got a chance really of winning the Premier League. He's 27. Is it next birthday? Am I right or wrong? 27 next birthday. And, he's not getting any younger. He's in his prime at this present moment in time. I would never, ever, ever say you can't go anywhere else. I'm proud of what you've achieved at Newcastle, but it's just the way it's done. It's the way it's happened. It's left a real sour taste in my mouth because, with all these, and somebody's put in here, and I'll show you in a second, and it's absolutely bang on. I think it was from Foxy. Bear with me. I'm sure I'd see it.
While you're looking for that, Gary, there's been quite a few comments saying, calm down, he's only said he wants to explore other options. If my wife said that to me, I know exactly what to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
If your friend says to you, I want to explore what else is out there, for a fine fact.
Yeah. I totally agree. And Foxy, I can't find it now. I'm going to go back and search in a minute. But it was more on the lines of, he said exactly the same. When you were saying about Matty saying, he loves the club, he loves the city, he loves the fans. He did exactly the same at Dortmund. He did exactly the same at Real Sociedad before he left. So it's not a case of, what do you expect him to say if somebody goes up to you and say, come on, what do you think about the club? He's not going to call us a bunch of tossers, is he? Unrealistic dreamers, as a lot of the people out there think we are. Gary Dodge et al. Oh, crikey, look at you talking about your references. We are all seriously in a really bad position, says Amrit, because of the fact that we have not offered him a new contract. So who's to blame? That's the to me is the question. Somebody has to have the blame to this. You can blame Isak for whatever you want, but realistically, this is at boardroom level.
Well, and that's a chat. We could do a whole hour and a half on that,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, where we've been with that, it's just, it's a joke. It really is. This is what a lot of people are getting pissed at PIF about. That there's been no structure to we knew that Darren Eales was having to leave. We knew that a long time ago. He was very upfront about leaving. Where's the structure of where that's happened? There's still no one in for it. We've only just signed that new, what was his name, Suds, or whatever his name is. Just sign that
technical director
from Atlanta. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
So we just signed that bloke. We still got positions that are empty. And it's bizarre. We're starting the season in a couple of weeks. We've got Villa in a couple of weeks, and I think this has been a lot of the hold up that people get. I know people get really frustrated at the time we do stuff, but I honestly think that most of this summer it's probably been bloody Eddie and is it his cousin? Is that right?
Yeah, his nephew, isn't it?
Sorry,
Andy,
you poor buggers, try to do all this work, behind the scenes, signing players. When that's not their, yes, Eddie's job is to find players and help, but he wasn't brought on board to sign players. That's not his job. And we still, this is where a lot of the frustration comes from. And I know, a lot of, X and all that, and I've seen it all today. People are very angry, especially with the ownership. And again, it doesn't look good when they're looking at other clubs. That doesn't look good.
What I'm interested right now is if he goes.
Yeah.
If he goes. Because that's still not a done deal yet anyway.
No, absolutely.
Although, it's probably likely to happen.
Should nickname it Thanos.
If he goes, how can we best salvage the situation? That's all I'm bothered about. I'm just bothered about Newcastle United progressing.
Yeah, if you get 150 for him, let's say, for example, you have to reinvest that sensibly.
Absolutely.
We're already being linked with a very an unproven player in the Premier League, but we've seen that before, like we said with Isak. So SESKO is obviously the player that's been linked the most. If that happens and WISSA happens, that's an interesting.
Well, look at this. I've just said if we lose Isak, but if we get SESKO, WISSA, Elliott, and Marmadashvili, and it's cost us virtually nothing.
We're not getting those two, so that's
not getting Marmadashvili. No way.
You might get him on loan.
Why do you say that?
Because they just signed him.
Yeah.
You might get him on a loan, you're not getting him on.
Yeah, you might get him on loan.
Ambitions for that fella.
He wouldn't be able to play for anyways, because that would be 3 clubs in a matter of 12 months. Wouldn't it? Or he'd have to play for Liverpool.
He'd have to play for Liverpool first, yeah.
If he plays for Liverpool, that's gone.
But I mean, he's going to be their second string anyway, isn't he? Until obviously Alisson disappears. With them.
So Kelleher then.
Well, Kelleher's gone. He's at Brentford.
He's at Brentford.
The thing that worries me, guys, is the nearer you get towards the end of the window with Isak still in the squad, even if you know he's leaving before the end, how many clubs are going to be willing to lose their top striker with a couple of days to replace them?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
and they know as well we've got money.
Exactly. Well, Al Hilal apparently are looking to sign Núñez now. That's a report that's just come in. Al Hilal are looking to put a bid in. Now, for a fact, it's going to be 80+ million or something stupid because that's the way they work, isn't it? I just wanted to go on to Liverpool's CEO, and I mentioned this about the difference between the two clubs and how it should be run, if you like. And it's all about the latest transfer news, if you like, and gossip from Red CEO Bill Hogan, as the Red continues links with Alexander Isak. And The chief executive, Hogan, has provided insight into the club's plans for a summer transfer window and potential move. I mean, they're out in Hong Kong on an Asian tour as well. And he's got 7 new signings have already been made by Liverpool this summer. You know, as we know, Hugo, Ekitike, Jeremy Frimpong, Wirtz, Kirkes, Mamadashvili, Pesci, and Woodman are already there in Slot's team. But he goes on to say that this summer has been Liverpool go on spending spree close to 300 million, and there is potential for more new additions to come. And he goes on to the reasons why they've got more scope to come. One of the things we're constantly focused on is the virtuous circle, trying to run the club in the right way to ensure that we can generate as much revenue as we possibly can. That obviously helps in terms of being able to put more back into the team, which is incredibly important from our perspective. We have been successful in that, doing a huge credit to everyone on the football side of the business side, working together every single day to ensure we get to that point. We also recognise, having won the English League title for the 20th time, that this is one of the biggest clubs in the world. We want to make sure that we are behaving like one. Having massive global stars come to play at Anfield, filling out stadiums in Hong Kong and Japan, those are things we expect and want to do. We have huge fan base around the world who crave success, and we're working as hard as we can to win more trophies. That's, to me, and I'll put this completely... It's a proper CEO statement. And it seems very much as though, you know, these are what has been offered on a plate to a world star, if you like. And who wouldn't have his head turned with the promise of potentially £400,000 a week?
It screams the Galacto era, doesn't it?
Yeah. I totally agree. I mean, like I said, I had nothing, but reading that, and I'm thinking to myself, wow. We talk about communication. You know, what have we not had for some time now about what's going on at the club? Apart from promises that have never been followed.
I mean, I'll just say, I think that's the one thing I can't get my head around in that. And with Darren Eales, obviously wish him all the best health wise, with what's happening, with what he has. But I just can't understand why, when we know he's leaving at the end of the season, we've known that. The club's known that since, what was it, November or something like that? I don't understand why, when the season ends, there isn't somebody ready and waiting just to come in straight away and just have a seamless transition. I mean, that's even at the start of the season, let alone the fact that we're now 2 months down the line and still hasn't happened.
Yeah, we're still asking questions about this Wilson and everything else, and that's the other thing. Jord Easy, thanks for the £2, buddy. The board is to blame. It's an absolute shambles. And Sam, I know Wynn's just shown it. Could be a blessing. He's injured often. And again, I think that's going towards Isak.
And by the way, whilst you've said quite rightly, Gary, that Isak has played 80 games, how many? And you know, as I say, Chris and I have had many a row about this. How many of those games has he actually performed in?
Well, he scored. You know, he's the only player in Newcastle history that has scored back-to-back 20 goals plus a season. Even the great Alan Shearer couldn't do that in the Premier League.
Well, as I say, the game didn't start with the Premiership, but that's by the by.
Would you say that Isak potentially scored one of the most important goals in 70 years for Newcastle United?
Absolutely, he did.
The World Cup final, the World Cup final, the League Cup final. I wish it was the World Bloody Cup final.
He's scoring that amount of goals while playing under par. Imagine what he'd be like if he's firing every week and getting rests when he needs to. And
well, that's what I'm saying. It's totally different. You know, when we look at, and even I criticised some of his performances because we were asking him to drop deep, go out wide, and he played, you know, a front line sometimes, especially when we went to a 4-5-1 formation. Don't forget, he played a front line virtually as a solo player, majority of the time against the big teams. So, you can. I suppose you can look at it in so many different ways. The problem is when you haven't got anybody to come on that's going to change or at least put in a potential effort towards goal, you're reluctant as a coach to pull him off. So his minutes just get bigger and bigger and bigger. His games just get more and more and more. And you get burnout. We saw that, like I say, potentially there was a lot of talk about Anthony Gordon playing for 2 solid seasons without a break because of European championships and things like that. And obviously then you get the interest from Liverpool. His performance levels dropped last season. Now, blame one, blame both. What I'm saying to you is players aren't robots. They're not going to perform for 90 minutes for 40 games a season.
Gordon said himself, didn't he, that the speculation got to his head?
Absolutely.
Like that. He said that the speculation got to him.
He scored that goal, didn't he? And he was giving it that against.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I said. The guys know about it, don't they? These, like I said, they are human beings. Predators agreeing with Win, fair enough. But Eddie and Andy being shite at negotiating
I don't think
deals
he's agreeing with me at all.
Hasn't helped. He's probably looked at it and thought his lot aren't doing enough. And I think that,
I don't think Predator ever agreed with me.
No, you know what I mean, though. I think a lot of it has got to do with who have we brought in. Again, talking about this vision, this promise that we've offered all these players. Has there been a comeuppance from the club because we haven't done enough to support these lads going forward?
Well, how many times have I said on this channel in the last couple of years, PIF have grown tired of fighting with PSO. Their idea when they took the club on was to throw money at it and do exactly what Abramovich had done and what the Sheikh's done at Man City, and that was their vision. They had the cash to do it, and PSR and then APT has, the alphabet soup that we've got of everything that's been introduced precisely to prevent us doing exactly that.
Thing is, Win, I get, like, maybe they have, maybe they haven't. For me, I don't see why they should get tired of PSR. I know it's a pain in the arse. I get that, but we've finished 4th, 7th, and 5th since they've took over. Obviously, the first season we stayed up.
And
isn't that encouragement enough to go with, you know what, without the commercial backing that other clubs have, we've managed to and win a cup as well, finish in those positions. Why don't we keep on, get our heads together and push on? And it doesn't mean that, PSR is going to be hurting you a bit, but it doesn't mean you still can't appoint a CEO early doors, get a DOF in straight away, replace Mitchell, get a strategy in place, get players in through the door. All that could be going on, and the momentum will be building. And we've got a juggernaut then going forward. And if we do finish top 4 again, obviously it's an if, but if we did, then it's more Champions League money. And then you've got the possibility of securing the commercial deals or closer to the commercial deals that the likes of Liverpool have. It's a long game, but they should be like excited about all Newcastle. They should be rubbing hands saying, God, look what we've done so far. Like, let's keep on going. I just don't get why it's went so stale.
I think.
Well, listen, PIF have got some of the brightest heads. They're a multi-trillion-pound concern. They've got some of the brightest heads anywhere. And
football's football when you make mistakes.
And the thing about football is it's different to any other business that they're involved in.
That's what they're guilty of.
And also, as I've said, when they took over, they weren't aware that they were going to have all of these. But once they'd got over the hurdle of being judged as fit and proper people, they thought that was it. All we've got to do now is throw a load of money at it, and we're laughing. And as has been rightly said, it's been very successful for them. Because already the club is worth 3 times what they paid for it.
But the other thing we need to stop doing is stop being so nice. I mean, Chelsea, all right, they get lauded about it, but they're finding ways around it. They're finding ways around this stupid rule.
And what I'm saying is they've got some of the brightest brains in the world.
Yeah.
So if they were interested as interested as they were when they took the club over, would they not have done that?
Maybe.
Is that not yet another indicator that they have sort of, well, you know.
Or maybe they're that bright that we don't know what the plan is.
Because now they can treble their money. And obviously, you know, because trust me, Isak could just be the first domino.
Oh, absolutely.
And
That's my concern
is my
now.
big worry, that Isak is just the first domino. Eddie could be the second, which will please a load of people out there. It'll break my heart, but it'll please a load of people out there. And then if Eddie goes, you've then got every crown jewel's going to be
Need a violin playing,
on the board out.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, we have seen it before.
It'll go to an American conglomerate.
This was the same we had mine after we won the cup, wasn't it? This is exactly how we thought we'd be.
You win a cup and then win, saying everyone's going to get in single file out the door.
Right then, so let's just talk about obviously potentials, because we've just heard on there that we're potentially moving quite quickly for SESKO. There has been a gentleman's agreement between SESKO and his club, RB. I don't know whether you guys are aware of this.
Seen that? No, is this?
I've read the Romano, quote.
Yeah, I mean, a gentleman's agreement in football refers to an informal arrangement between a player and a club. I mean, it means absolutely, it means bollocks, if I'm honest with you.
We have a place with Trafford, apparently. So
yeah, exactly. And he often allowing a player to leave under specific circumstances.
Back to what I was saying this afternoon. Somebody somewhere should have known. All the PR that we've been getting. He's staying. Not a bid in the world is going to get him out of here. That is what's hindered us, because if we knew he was going, we would have paid the extra couple of million for Trafford. We would have paid the extra couple of million for Mbuano. We would have paid the extra couple of million for Pedro. Ekitike, one after the other. And
I don't know whether it's the fees that have put us off. I don't know whether it's that, or we're worried about the PSR thing with the where we are with wages. Yeah,
that's exactly what I said.
I think that's the thing we're more concerned about. I don't know if it's
totally comfortable with wages.
No, we're quite. Aren't we up against it? I think we're quite.
No. You got even for UEFA, you can pay 75%, 70%.
I think, aren't we quite near that?
So on that, let's
nowhere near, Paul.
No?
Like a few people said in the chat, let's hypothetically say by the end of, I don't know, middle of next week, we know Isak's leaving. If we were to bring in a WISSA, a SESKO, a Scalvini, and let's say another one that we're quite good at getting players out of the blue that we don't know of, would you then say, okay, it's not been the window that we wanted, but it's at least strengthened us?
There's a possibility of that happening, but it's a long, long way off.
Well, it's a long way off, but that is the possibility. That's the word, Win.
Absolutely.
The possibility is there to do it, and I think
it's timing, isn't it?
Abby Clapper and Chief always look on the bright side of life.
But this is what club need to get their heads around and act upon, in that football can change so quick. And if we do get these players through the door, yes, obviously, like I said, we're not going to get a striker, the same standard of Isak. But if we can get these other players through the door in other positions, very quickly, fans are going to be excited again for the season and just close the door on Isak scenario. And just go for it.
Yeah.
Dick Emery, not Paul Emery.
One thing that we've been saying...
Never been negative in my life, pal.
The big argument everyone's been having the whole summer, other than we needed a striker, was squad's got no depth. So let's
exactly.
Bring in 5 or 6 good players. SESKO's going to be the big one. So there's, let's say, 35% of the money that you're going to get out of Isak. So obviously over the 3 years, let's say we spend 70 million on SESKO. We're probably going to be out in excess of over 200 million if he does go. So trying to nitpick a couple of million here, we might not have to worry about that quite as much. Okay, we're not going to be silly and overspend, but at least we're not going to have to walk away from everybody. So Scalvini for me, 40 million quid. SESKO, say 80. There's 120 gone. Gahey, 35, 40 million. Get him. You know, Premier League proven. That and another midfielder for me, I think would put us in a good position squad-wise. Okay, it's going to be a gamble. We don't know what SESKO is going to do in the Premier League. But I'll hold my hand here and say there's worse out there. There is worse out there for, you know, you could take a £40 million gamble and it absolutely land flat on its face.
Yeah.
I'd rather overspend a little bit and maybe not get to the level of Isak.
Go on, do that one, Gary.
What the PIF continue to invest the Isak situation had been fueled by the red media agenda. I mean,
this one is just superb. I assume Kathy must be a Liverpool fan. Most fans wanted FSG out 2 seasons ago. Oh yes, well, sorry,
we Lisbon wanted
them gone because they never spent.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Even Carragher.
We saved our money to get here today.
And that's exactly what I've just said.
And that's the other thing that I said this afternoon. My one strand of hope that I've got left with PIF is that they are simply waiting for Man City to blow the 115 out the water, prove that all of the rules are unlawful, and then they're going to go bush. Sadly, is that going to be too late? Because again, Premier League and Man City have pushed this down the road and down the road and down the road. It should have been done 18 months ago.
Yeah.
It's too late, and it's for me, it's too easy. We need to get our heads together, and yeah, you can just throw money at the wall, but why not just be creative about it? Why not be organised? Why not be ambitious without having to rely on just throwing mud at the wall and seeing what sticks?
When given lemons, make lemonade.
Well, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, this reminds me of like the Coutinho days, where Liverpool obviously had to sell one of their stars, and then they rebuilt. And you know, we've said for a while, and Foxy's just made a good point in the chat there. We spent big fees on players which have worked for us, but struggling to sell our deadwood has slowly caught up with us these last 3 windows.
Absolutely,
we need to sell a big player or just be smarter in the market. And I think there's a lot of value to that comment.
Well, that's what Jefferson's been saying for weeks.
Yeah.
And you know, like I said, as much as I hate to say it, you know, I think there was always going to be a day like we've had. I mean, I was watching Chris this afternoon, when he obviously got the breaking news. You know, it was all over the media then, and you're right. I mean, there is ways of looking at what he said about, you know, looking at avenues and all situations with Isak at this present moment in time. It doesn't mean that he's just going to say, you know, screw you. But I do think it's a bit more of a, you know, I'm holding the club to ransom now. You know, either meet my demands, or I'm going to be like Gyökeres and I'm just going to down my tools. You know, and it's like before, when you say, you know, send him to the under-21s, we lose another year on his contract. He's going to be valued a lot less. You know what I mean? Next season, even if we take him onto that next, even in January, people can come in with crazy bids then, and then you start saying to yourself, you know, oh, were we silly not to accept the 130? You know, whatever comes in next. Because, you know, for me, you know, the biggest point I made earlier on, and I was in the chat and I turned around and said the biggest problem for me when Chris was on live is who holds all the cards in this current situation. If Liverpool come back in with a low ball offer, 120 million, which is what they said at the start, to start all this, you know, this ball rolling, if you like, and turning the player's head. If they come in and say, I'm going to do a Newcastle now, I'm going to put one bid in, 120 million, take it or leave it. What's stopping them? Who's
20 million?
Yeah, but Well, I know you're saying that,
Well,
but
because
that's what I said.
Arsenal will come in and Chelsea will come in.
There's going to be teams if they can get rid of Deadwood, like Chelsea have got 2 teams they could sell.
They could absolutely. But what I'm saying to you is, the opposition teams now, knowing the situation and predicament that we're in, time's against us. We
Yeah,
need to get
yeah.
players on board. They can just come in with a low ball offer, and it puts a little bit of pressure on the chairman, or whoever's on board dealing with this issue with Isak, to say we either accept and take it on the chin, or we let it run for another season. And even another season, what you're going to get is less than 120 million because he's got another year off his contract.
Well, but
That's what I'm saying.
What I believe is, if that were the case, Isak would do a gee. He wouldn't down tools. He would still perform week by week by week, despite what all of a sudden he's a bogeyman. Not in my eyes, he's not. And if that were the case, if it was 120 million offer, you could have a talk to him about wages. It wouldn't bother me at all if he was still playing for us next season. But there's loads of fans who wouldn't accept that now.
The problem you've got with that window is, how do you then go and buy a striker in the worry that Isak? You're right. He might just carry on as a professional, put his head down, and just say, "Look, I'm here. Something will materialise in time, and until that day, I'm a Newcastle player, but I'm doing it exclusively." The problem is, then how do you bring in a striker and convince them that they're going to get minutes in games and they're going to be a big part of the squad when you've still got Isak, who's disgruntled, deep down ahead of him? For me, it's a hard sell.
Well, there ain't no strikers left.
But that's my point. You're not going to get a SESKO to come in as a second.
Of course you will.
He's not going to come as a backup. I'm telling you now, no way.
Well, I disagree with you. Simple as that.
The money as well. How can you keep Isak on the money he's on?
We've got to start paying the money.
Well,
that's the issue now, isn't it? Because, like I said, we've seen a couple of players around Isak get. He's back on board, Chris. He's here. Can you hear us, Chris? You keep jumping in and out.
I'm on stage. No, man, I was just listening to a conversation. I think you guys are doing a great job. Other than Win, everybody else doing a great job. But but no, continue. I mean, I'm listening, man. There's nothing to be happy about if you're a Toon fan.
Isak solves the problem leaving by it's easier to attract a striker. That's what I'm trying to say.
You're right. Nobody comes in as second fiddle. Yeah, I agree with you, mate. I totally agree with you. For me, the biggest problem is now is, and I said this before, Isak demands are met, even if it's 250,000. Who's going to be the next player knocking at Eddie Howe's door saying, well, if he's got this, I want this? Because we have got stars now.
No, because I honestly think that none of our current crown jewels who've all been given new contract, apart from Toon Army, who owes us big stale, they wouldn't have any qualms at all about Isak being given, because having him in the team, they would believe would give them better chances of winning trophies, etc.
Well, I mean, but that's I never find that as an excuse, because I mean, people get paid more than others. It's just life, man.
That's
It's
life,
not.
exactly.
I mean,
Strikers get paid more than anybody else.
if they're performing, then there's no. Or if Tonali becomes, I think Tonali is probably one of the ones that's gonna be the highest paid player at some point. Or one of. But I mean, but I don't think he's gonna say pay me or I'm leaving. If that's the case, you got 20 players to worry about getting paid 300K a week. So, but my worry now with Newcastle is every report that I read says if Isak leaves, Newcastle are looking to. Thank you, David Knight. Appreciate it, mate. Thank you. Every report that I read says Newcastle is looking into getting Sesko if Isak leaves this summer. And I think that is a huge mistake. There shouldn't be no if. We should right now throw in bids for Sesko, because Isak will leave no matter what, this window or next. Yeah. We shouldn't be waiting around if Isak leaves. What kind of club conducts themselves like that? Waiting for the player to leave.
I totally agree, and that's why I said about the Ekatike deal. I think the plan was, and I think this has been spoken to management by Isak and his agents previously. When you read between the lines, there's lots of red tape and red flags for me. I think the Ekatike deal was to bring him on, get him settled in the club for January, and then Isak goes in January. That is what I think. Again, it's only my opinion. I've got no clout on this. That's what I think Eddie Howe wanted to achieve by going in for the likes of Ekatike, who has been nicknamed as the next Isak, if you like. And I think that's why Liverpool came in and snatched him, simply because they hold all the cards now. And like I say, they put a bit of pressure on Newcastle now. Who do you go to next?
Listen, I mean, I don't know what the rest of the lads think, but Isak, if we can keep him, that's great. But he already has shown you he deserves a big contract. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But he has shown you that he's not shy to say I'm leaving, and to each their own. So you've got to take his word. You got to take his word literally, and so you can't just wait for him to leave next summer and then get a new striker. I think to me, Newcastle should put all their sources getting a new striker. I don't know what the rest of the lads believe, but
I'm just going to 2 seconds, Tim. 2 seconds, Tim, because he said there's a super chat and we hadn't said it. We thanked him, but we didn't say it. Need to sell him to Saudi for 200 million before the Premier League, and I totally agree. I would hate. He doesn't want to go to there because obviously it's a lesser league. But for me, get him to PSG. Barca, Real Madrid, these are the teams that I want him to be at, rather than I'd rather face him in the Champions League than in the Premier League. Put it that way.
The long-term scenario would have been that he'd go to Barca in the summer to replace Lewandowski, but
I just want to say thank you to Mucky as well. Obviously, he's a Liverpool fan. Isak looks beautiful in red. Joke aside, I got your channel recommended. It is very nice to hear honest and realistic opinions without jealousy and crying like babies. I respect and I like tunes. Thank you ever so much, Mucky.
He's super chatted too.
And we've got Mucky. That's the one. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the same. You want to read it, man?
Go on, read it then. You just put it up.
It's very nice to hear honest and realistic opinions without jealousy and crying like babies. He's looking good in red. Oh, it was the other way around the first one.
Well done, buddy. Thank you so much for your super chat.
Hey, but while we're on that, before Tim, because Tim gonna get upset, he's not getting the word in. Janet Percy, welcome. Thank you for becoming a member. Janet Percy as well earlier on today. Welcome, Tim. What's up, man?
I was just gonna say, I think if Isak stays, it's kind of like, hiya lads, I'm here for the last 12 months. How's it going? And it's just I'm here on a temporary basis. It's not really the right dynamic, even just for this season coming up. And I think part of our success in recent years has been built on that togetherness and that spirit, and players willing to die for each other on the pitch and just being all in. And for me, I just don't think we should keep Isak when he's, like you say, Chris, he's already shown his cards. Yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, well you'll leave next summer, so we'll crack on. I just think that dynamic isn't ideal, and I think just cash in now when we can. And it might, like you say, Gary, it might be the case that these clubs will come in knowing our predicament and not give 150 and give 120 or something. We might have to accept something like that.
Yeah, it's what I said. The pressure's on us now.
And get on with it and sign a SESKO and a WISSA and then fill up the other positions as well. We can recover from this potentially, but we need to act quick.
And by the way, SESKO could play with Isak if just get the replacement in, man.
Yeah, if Liverpool sell Diaz, at the end of the day. Sorry, you said SESKO. I thought you meant Ekatike. Because, they could still play together at Liverpool if Diaz goes. Iniesta, swap deal with KSG. Colomwani plus 80 million cent our way. I'd take it. I'd definitely take it, mate. Thank you for that.
I was talking on
about
Monday, I think it was, about Colomwani coming on loan.
And Colomwani is great, man. Great sign.
Absolutely.
But we got Sensible Moniker through Super Chat. But go ahead. Read that one then.
Yeah, I will do, mate. Sensible Monica, you've put down, given that PIF have more money than God, and the Prince said he is not for sale, then Isak and his agent are for a shock. They will not allow this to happen.
Look, it might happen that PIF pulls one of, anybody has done this. Big, strong presidents of clubs have done this, where they don't allow a big star to leave. I mean, kind of Mbappe and well, I mean, it relates to my point because I think Middle Eastern bosses are known, and it might be again have nothing to do with Middle East, but they are known for being stern and not giving a damn. Because remember, the PSG's president, not owner, but president, didn't let Mbappe leave to Real Madrid. Said we hold the cards here. He's contractor. He's not leaving. And there was a saga for like 3 years.
Yeah.
So PIF might do something like that. I don't know, but the thing is, do you keep a player that doesn't want to be there?
Absolutely.
I personally think the only way you rectify this, if he does stay, is A, you do a temporary improvement on his contract and say, look, but long term, like Tim says, do you want a player there that might, in the back of his head, no matter how much relative success you're having, the only way that you turn his mind full time is by going out and showing some huge ambition and bringing some big players here. Can we do that without, like everyone says, like get a Rodrigo, get a Koulibaly, play out with them? You know, the only way you do that is by having a real immediate effect on the Premier League and really challenging. And for me, the only way we do that is doing exactly what Chris said there before. Now, I agree. You know, I said before SESKO wouldn't come if Isak. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we do. Isak, you know, we're owners dig the heels in and say you're not leaving. You're under contract, and we're able to turn it around. But it's not going to happen overnight. But it's got to be done by us showing some ambition first of all, by spending some money, and then saying to him, look, just give her a bit of time. We're building something. We will get you to that 300 grand a week by the end of the season, and we'll backdate your money as well. But we can only do that if we're getting the revenue coming in, and the only way you get the revenue is by getting some Champions League football or winning FA Cup or whatever it be. If we can get the knockout stages of the Champions League, that really makes a statement to him to say, look, we brung in a SESKO, we brung in a Scalvini, we brung in somebody else, let's say Rodrigo or something. That for me is the only way you turn it around. But how likely is that to happen? I don't know.
Yeah, Mucky has found another super
again,
chat.
thanks.
Yeah, and we've just said exactly that, matey. When you guys sell
When they sold
Coutinho,
Coutinho, they built half a team with the money.
Yeah.
What is
exactly.
BAM from? What country is he from?
No idea.
No idea.
British,
Actually.
American, Mexican currency. Man, that's a lot.
I don't know. I don't know where he's from. I don't know where that's from. It'd be nice to tell us where that's from. But
Bosnia Herzegovina.
Oh, there you go.
Herzegovina, man, not Herzegovina.
Bosnia Herzegovina Marca. That's what it is.
Nice.
There you
That's
go.
nice.
So we learn something new every day. But thank you ever so much, Mucky. I mean, I do find at this present moment in time. I mean, I know we've come to an hour and a half in the show, and I know you guys have got better things to be doing. But I've just had a look. I've just had a quick look on the rumours, and it looks very much like Newcastle an hour ago were inquiring about Christopher Nkunku and Louis Openda, which, to be fair, I quite like Louis Openda. I think he could be a very good replacement for Alexander Isak. But I'm not so sure Christopher Nkunku blows my frock up too much, if I'm honest with you.
Well, I mean, he could be a backup as well. We need that as well, man.
Yeah, that's true. It's just whether he can stay fit, isn't it, Chris? We've got another Wilson
on the bench.
Well, that's why this window, and we've been saying it, by the way. I heard a comment from earlier on. And it turns out the bedwetters turned out to be intelligent fans that saw what was happening, and all you gotta do is use critical thinker. Happy Clapper, for example, like when he comes on today and says that, oh, this is what we're going to do. Liverpool is going to give us Mamardashvili. He says Mamardashvili's name first. Like, that's going to be the replacement for Ethan. How can your brain come up with that, man? And then you talk about other names. I'll take Gapco, by the way, but Mamardashvili, we already don't need a goalkeeper. I've criticized the team, Newcastle, for going for wasting time on Trafford, just so Man City can take him. And then we don't need a goalkeeper, so why are we even worrying about that? Thank you, Random Access.
Random Mods have done a fantastic job tonight. We have. I mean, I've scuppered a couple, and I know the lads have been keeping a real close eye on things that are going on in the chats. There was a question from Foxy.
Random.
Yeah, cheers, Randall. Foxy saying thoughts on Osimhen. I thought he'd gone.
He's gone.
To Galatasaray,
He's
isn't it?
gone.
Is it full? Is it done? Is it literally done?
Filled and delivered. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
done.
I thought. I mean, yeah, I'd have taken it definitely. And this is what
You gotta
annoys me
honestly tell me
with
that
timing.
we could. Well, here's the thing. You gotta honestly tell me that he wouldn't have thought about it if Newcastle would have gone there. You think he wouldn't want to come to the Premier League and stay in Turkey? Come on, man.
This is why I was saying earlier, Chris, it annoys me that Isak hasn't opened his mouth about this earlier, because we could have acted in other.
We don't know that. We don't know that. He could have. He could have.
Very
And
possibly, yeah.
and this might be this might be an action where he sees, okay, everybody's getting ready for preseason, everybody's getting ready to do their thing, and what about my contract? So what he's probably talked about this with his agent. His agent has told him, because this is how it works, man. Agent tells him, listen, this is what we got to do. We got to tell the club, blah blah blah, that we're exploring options. It also could be that he's trying to do that, get a massive contract, and he doesn't want to leave altogether. But I don't know, man. We can't
question
do
from
300K a week, though, can we?
Yeah, a question from Don Milburn. When Arsenal went for SESKO, he wanted a 100 million release clause in his deal. Does that change your outlook on him?
Well, that's down now. That's down. They've said they'll accept effectively 67 million.
Yeah, but with the gentleman's agreement, if a club comes and offers the right money, they can. But I think what he's asking for there is in his contract, if he puts down 100,000 to release clause, and I think that is potentially what a lot of names will do now. If you want him bad enough, and I think at this present moment in time, we are the ones that look a little bit more desperate to have him rather than him come to us. I think that's where I feel at the board now. And I think that is where a lot of other clubs will see themselves at the table now, that the weight is against us rather than us being the powerful people that we all see through black and white glasses, unfortunately, sometimes. But in the real world, when you're desperate, you do, unfortunately, have to go with cap in hand and beg a little bit. And I think sometimes you have to give in to the demands of players if you want to get players on board. I think this is where I criticise Eddie Howe and the team, Steve Nicks and Andy Howe, is the fact that if we have got these players lined up and in hand to go for, and they go in with a low ball offer, what is the mindset when they go in for a low ball offer? Is that your cut-off? Because surely if that's your cut-off and you've got no other leeway, then why bother going in for it at all? You might as well start lower and increment a little bit up, but don't wait a week before you come away from that deal. It doesn't make any sense to me. Somebody else has just come in.
Thank you, Steve.
Stevie, thank you, buddy. Pavlidis. Yeah, Pavlidis. Anyone else can realistically buy to replace Isak. Yeah, another good player.
Steve loves him. I'm not
yeah. And Jimmy eats movies. We can't sell without signing a new star first. Pierce off.
Well, I know.
Just as far as Pavlidis is concerned, Steve, Nunes had better numbers than Pavlidis in Portugal.
I always have a question about this, by the way. These negotiations, right? I would think that you would pick up the phone and call their appointee director of football per se, and say, "Mate, is what's his name available? Well, we don't want to sell him, but I mean, this is how much we want, 50. Okay, 50. All right. But why does it have to be sending a formal bid knowing that they're going to reject it? Why can't they be in a conversation, talking back and forth? And you can say, listen, I'll call you back. We're going to talk amongst my people. We'll call you back. Why do they have to send, for example, the offer of, what's his name, WISSA, 25 million. If we're on a phone call and we know that they want 30 minimum, why are we sending a formal bid if they know they're going to reject that?
Yeah, I've done that one win. I've done that one win.
And apparently, Sky Sports said today that Newcastle are more than expected in the next 24 hours to go in with an improved bid of 30.
No, I know that. I don't want to get literal on that part, but I'm saying like it seems like we throw in an offer and we take days
exactly. Like in this day and age, you've got you literally can speak to anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
anywhere.
because
Like,
you would tell them, listen, would you take
No.
28?
yeah, exactly.
You
So
know,
I understand there's negotiation. I get it. There's going to be back and forth, but like you surely after maybe a day or two, you come to a realization that we're either too far apart, or you know what, we agree.
yeah. It's
And
none of
yeah,
this.
it's like this in football everywhere, and I think like, and fair enough to be like in the internet and stuff now. I suppose because you hear about things more, it heightens the perception of it all. But I just feel like kind of back in the day as well, it's like you put a bit down, and it was year on year, and
And you would, well, I would say if you have to put a formal bid, I don't know what that would be. I mean, writing it down, putting the seal on it, signing, whatever. That would you would surely you would know that they're going to accept that. Why would you do all of that if knowing that you're lowballing the team? If you're having a conversation, Win is not saying nothing because ain't got a clue what's what's got. No matter how many number games he wants to play with his Excel sheets. I mean, it's crazy. Foxy, I know Chris likes his River Plate football. I'm sure he's been keeping an eye on the new kid Santiago Lencina. It was a new star, man. We generate stars in South America, man. But
You don't
Mighty
know.
Win doesn't like those. He wants prem proven BS. That all we do is take 20 years to send a damn formal bid to be rejected. You know
I
what I
think we
mean?
have to wait for the South Americans to go into Europe before we look at them.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
and
But,
that's the
but
thing, though. We are a club that we turn our nose up on these lads when the vast majority of huge clubs don't. Like it's insane to me that it's insane.
Real Madrid
yeah,
just spent £40 million on a 16-year-old, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, I
something
don't know
like
about.
that. I just want to. Yeah,
No, but
I
he's
just
not
want
16 though.
just 2 seconds, guys. Guys, in the chat, please, nothing political. We don't want. I mean, listen, Kathy obviously is a red. She's come on the channel. She's not sort of spoken from what I've seen anything nasty. So please, give her some respect for other channels as well, please.
Mm. Yep.
I mean, like I say, I do.
Hit the likes.
Yeah, just if you can keep hitting the likes, that'll be fantastic. It is where we are when it comes to players coming in, and I have often said there is great players out there. We looked at lots of young, talented players that potentially could be given to us at a snip and let us develop them and move them on. I can't understand, and I don't know how you guys feel. And I wanted to move. This is the last topic of the evening because I've seen the time, and we are getting a bit late now. The lads that aren't on the plane, the under-21 lads, the Kuals, the Pivas, who's obviously come back from his loan deal, and the like. Even Carrero, the lad, the Spanish lad, Cordero. Yeah, he's not on the plane. Why on
Yeah,
earth?
it's crazy.
Why on earth would you actually not take these lads to have a good look at them over these next 12 days?
Well, and that's solely on Eddie Howe. That's Eddie Howe. And by the way, I believe that Paul Mitchell is signed Cordero, and that may have something to do with it that he didn't want him. And Mighty Win won't bring that up. He won't say he knows best BS. But we have no signings. I feel like again we turn our nose up. It's like it's like we're in England for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? We turn on, that was a joke by the way. Turn our nose up. They're too good for. He's not good enough. Are you kidding me? We don't buy South American players or African players or players from other continents or other leagues, and we don't even we managed to sign one decent young talent, and we don't even bother to look at him. You tell me how can that
Doesn't
be?
make any sense for me. I mean, I know the lad's just come off his Euro 21s and he's been given an extended holiday, the same as Tino. But you can't tell me that these guys wouldn't want to have gone and joined up with the lads, even if he doesn't get the first game or maybe the first 2 games, just to get, to know them, just to get part of the camaraderie within the club. And I do find that a mystery for me. Why bring players in, these young players, if you're not going to have a look at them before you decide to loan them out? Doesn't make any sense.
The only logical reason I could put to that is if maybe they've got loans set up for them and it's too easy, it's too hard to go all the way back from Asia to get the deal sorted. If they're in Europe, if European teams want them on loan. But I agree with you. If that's not the case, if there's no deals for them to go out on loan, why are they not getting the squad experience? build up rapport with players. Not only that, get to know the manager.
That's what I'm going to say. There's a lot to know and a lot to learn. You know, the tactics and things like that. It sounds to me very much that the lads that haven't been taken aren't in the plans, and they are to be shipped out elsewhere. And that is where we currently stand, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a crazy one for me. Does anybody want to say anything before we call it a night? Because, like I say, we've been on for quite a bit now. Anybody got any last comments?
There's 24 players on the plane already.
Yeah.
They are
and
not
one
all
striker.
Gonna,
six
So
goalkeepers.
They're not all going to play.
So
Six
that means
goalkeepers.
So that means we don't need a signing. And we got 24 players already, so we're good. We're good, man.
We've got one striker on the plane, guys.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Come on.
Ridiculous.
It's absolutely bloody ridiculous.
Lad. He's a development striker.
Last couple of starred chats that I've done. Predator, A-Win, fair enough, but Eddie, I've done that one. Graham TC, win, talking Tosh again. On Cup Final Day 74, we'd won more trophies than Liverpool. Just saying.
Right. 1974, Liverpool, in the previous 10 years, had just won 2 titles, 2 cups, and the first European Cup as it was then.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy.
So even in 1974, they were a decade in front of us.
Yeah. Listen, that has nothing to do with now, man. They're a much bigger club now. It is what it is, but the club is not prepared to take punches. Certainly.
Pop Mags is having a go. If I were Paul Mitchell, I'd be consulting lawyers over a daily smear campaign, blaming him for everything.
Yeah, and the reason
Stevie Bruce.
The reason I started that one is because when Craig Hope gave us that insight, exactly that. If it was bullshit, that's exactly what he would be doing.
Yeah.
Going to his lawyers and suing them. So there has to be truth in it.
Yeah, Ekatike was not our first choice. Our first choice was a new contract for Wilson, and we pissed about waiting for Wilson to decide what he was going to do before he accepted the offer.
Exactly.
Again, very true. Box, you can you can do more with 2 players that want to be here and are passionate about the culture than one great player that is not interested anymore.
I agree with that.
And I totally agree with that, because I would have a few J7s in the squad rather than one player that thinks he's better than the squad. And I totally agree with that. You may not have the technical ability, but if you want to wear a black and white shirt with a passion and show it, but you know, with what he says and everything else, give it to me every day. Yeah, I totally agree with that, Box.
How many of that Liverpool squad do you think really love Liverpool?
Well, I mean,
they win the trophies, mate, don't they?
I wouldn't go that far. Listen, I wouldn't. You never know in football, man. I watch this game too long, and you know, players sometimes say things, and I don't know. I read one time that Alan Shearer wanted to leave because his contract wasn't sorted. So,
yeah, I think that was more a management issue, though, wasn't it?
Why are you happy to be there? As long as you're happy to be there. So those Liverpool players are happy to be there because they're winning things and they're at the top.
True.
So they don't necessarily love Liverpool. Obviously, some players love affection for the club more than others. But
rather people who win stuff been happy just to be here rather than love Newcastle win nothing.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, look, Chiesa's moved on now, hasn't he? Or Chiesa's going out the door. I mean, he's been there a season or half a season.
Has he gone?
I think he's gone. I think he's looking at being one of the the many to be sold.
Wouldn't it be great, guys? Obviously, Wirtz, Frimpong, Kirkes, there's a big dynamic change in Liverpool. Wouldn't it be just, not to be vindictive or anything, but wouldn't it be great if they didn't even get in the Champions League after spending all this money? If they get Isak as well.
Let me see the last one. I did say it, man.
But my
Sometimes
God,
it just...
We didn't ignore you, Jimmy. I did say it, and I did clap you, buddy.
He's saying one there, £1, but it doesn't say anything.
Yeah, exactly. It was put on the screen, and I did thank you, Jimmy. So apologies if you didn't hear it, my friend. But again, thank you so much. Iniesta's come in. Tim speaking facts. Our window has been abysmal. Is that a huge factor? Well, I think it's massive factor with what's going on.
Wynn's been awful quiet, man. He can't. He not even he can help us. Not even he can come up with, because he tries to spin things, but he can't even spin this one, man. It is what it is, man.
All I'm saying is the last time
here we go.
a fantastic
Are
young
you mad,
striker
man?
to the league champions and the best team in Britain
No,
for a
no.
record fee.
Excuse me.
We went on
Yeah.
to produce within 18 months. Would produce the entertainers, and we had broken ourselves as
Okay.
the only team in England ever to break the world
Yeah.
transfer record.
What you
Actually,
saying is
let me
illegal,
correct
is
that. Let me correct that.
What I'm saying is, every cloud has a silver lining.
Okay, let me correct that. Let me fact check. We fact check around here. The last time we saw the world class striker, it was in the Ashley era with Andy Carroll, and we got knackered after that.
That was
So
the biggest pants down in the history of football transfers.
You telling me
we got
Kutcher
knackered.
35 million for Andy Carroll then. How weird, man.
you're not telling me that Shefty Kutcher was a big good investment? Come on.
Sibierski was Sibierski was
Let me
class.
tell you something.
What I'm saying
Now,
is Andy Cole was a good investment for Man U for £7 million. We went on to get Sir Les and then Alan, and we
Doesn't
came
mean I'm better
nearer
than
than we've ever been in my lifetime to winning the Prem. That's all I'm
I thought this was the best team in your lifetime, man. You flip flop like a pancake, man. Go on.
No, 20,
Finish it, Gary. It's time to go
22,
home.
23 is the best season I've ever had.
We've got a couple more to go through. Boki here said we should have offered Isak 300,000 a week with an option to buyout clause in 26 for 130 to 150. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Predator again, and
people
to be
in
honest, I
place to
agree
be
with the
in.
damage he's done now. If the club turned around and gave Isak what he wanted, I think fans would still kick right off because they know he's only here for the money and not for the
Which
club.
player isn't there for the money?
Before we
I'm
go,
gonna say,
guys, could
yeah.
we get a hands up on does he stay or does he go?
Go. Shall we put hands up for go first?
Are we talking about do we want him to, or do we
No,
think he
what
will?
do
No, what will
The
he
way
do?
you want it.
I think he goes.
Go.
I think he'll go.
So,
Three.
three.
Stay.
I don't know, man.
I've got no idea.
And sitting again, pussy.
Yeah.
He
So
kept
two
getting
two
on-
abstained, one
Exactly,
stays, and three
exactly. He
goes.
can't
There you go.
predict. He
Pussy.
has everybody else to predict, but he can't predict. I think he's gonna stay because
Yeah,
the chances that Liverpool don't have the money for it, they have to sell to build up that money. They already spent. They're close to spending 500 million. Man, that's a lot of money. And by the way, how is Chelsea about to spend £1 billion
I have
again?
no idea.
They did that last year, I think. Again,
Yeah.
what is this, man? Ain't
Yeah,
no
it's
way
been
they're generating that kind of money.
it's 400,000 a transfer window by the looks of it. When you actually work it out, it's ridiculous amounts of money that
It
they're
is.
able to spend.
Which screams
How can you keep up with
Liverpool's
that?
going to be able to do it.
I mean, it's criminal, man. But I think Liverpool might not have enough money. I think that the offer might not be as high as if Newcastle stays strong, which I think might happen if it's true that PIF don't want to sell Isak, then they're going to hold out for 150 million. And if I think there are a lot of chances, and plus he's contractually attached, although that means nothing nowadays. But
No.
I think he might stay forcefully, and it'll be up to Eddie Howe to work his magic
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
to spoon with Isak and make him happy again.
Last
Yeah,
couple then.
six,
Babading, Newcastle trying to win a cockfight with Liverpool was hugely naive.
Correct.
Quite agree with that one.
No.
Gary
But that's another contradiction, by the way. Wynn said we should go out there.
He's
and,
gone. He's
exactly,
gone.
he's run away. He said we need to show Liverpool who's balls and not roll over. And now he's saying different. Man, it's crazy. This guy.
Yeah, Gary H. Piff CEO Mitchell are completely screwed up. Yet another transfer window. 5 weeks is not enough time, even with selling Isak to get players. Complete shambles. Where's the project?
The one thing Isak does need to make sure he does get is a good house alarm. That I know that because he's got a history.
Good house alarm.
Liverpool's not going to look good for him.
Yeah, you need concrete in your tires.
Any Liverpool fans, it's joke.
Steve Arker, I did see this earlier on in Chris's show. Guys, he's only said he's weighing up his options. Relax. He either signs or we get loads of money. Strengthen and become bigger, quicker, not at the end of the world. Yeah, Steve, totally agree, mate. It is. Yeah, I still think he's, like I say, he's not weighing his options type of thing. I think he's just looking at what's going to come in bid-wise. And apparently tomorrow, Derek's been kicked out, apparently. I don't know what's happened there.
Oh, well, I didn't kick him out.
Derek's been kicked out the stream.
I joined via link, so I have no
Yeah.
clue because he's blaming me now.
Most fans wanted FSG out 2 seasons ago. Oh, we've done that one, Kath, I think. And LFC wanted them gone because he never spent. We saved our money and look where we are now. Well, welcome, Kathy. Thanks for your chats. And before we go, I just wanted to say a massive thank you to everybody that's gifted tonight. Random Access, Claire G, Janet Percy for becoming a member, Chris, Jordizi, Samai, David Knight, Mucky, Iniesta, Sensible Monica, Mucky again, Random Access again, Strasbourg Steve, Jimmy Eats Movies a couple of times. Thank you so much. In actual fact, Jimmy Eats Movies, I didn't see this one come in, so apologies, Jimmy. We can't sell without signing a new star first, PSR. Sure, I did that one, but if I didn't, there you go.
I think we did.
Thank you so much, Jimmy.
Can we all just join in and say happy birthday to Gary as well in the chat and on the?
Oh yeah, happy birthday,
tomorrow.
man! Happy birthday!
Yeah, I'll be here again 2:15 tomorrow, guys. So you can all do your
happy
birthday wishes.
to Gary, man.
Yeah. It is what it is.
Well, you're bad mojo, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, guys, thank you so much for all of your efforts. Andy, the mighty win, Tim, Paul. Lovely to have you back on board, Paul. It's been a long time, my friend. And Chris, the American Mag, and everybody that's in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us in this evening. It's been great. Don't forget to join us again tomorrow, 2:15. I'm live. I'm hoping somebody else will join me. And thank you to everybody that's gifted us tonight. You've been more than generous. Again, if you don't, we'll see you tomorrow. And it's a good night from everybody here. And some have already left. Until tomorrow. And we're the lads, lasses, and bairns. Take care all.
Cheers.